What's up, YouTube? Poor.Mans.Podcast back with another video. Today's video is going to be, when do women ever get to own their life? All right, before I get into the video, though, I got to do the YouTube stuff. The goal is 25,000 subscribers by June. It's a crazy goal. It's a big goal, but it's my goal, all right? And the only way I'm going to get to my goal is if you give me the HBO special. Do you know what the HBO special is? That's the Help a Brother Out special, all right? So go on and help a brother out. Hit the like and the subscribe button for more content. I'm going to give y'all a second to do that. All right, now let's get to the video. When do women ever get to own their life? Let's see what she got to say.
Okay, so I have a new video, and it's a little bit different than the other ones that I usually talk about, but this is definitely something I've been talking about on my timeline. So the topic of this one is women never get to own their own lives. Because if you think about it, when a girl is born from 0 to 18, she belongs to her parents. And that's if you have the type of parents that believe at 18 you're an adult. Because in a lot of Black or Caribbean households, 18 years old doesn't mean anything. You're still their kid. They brought you into this world that could take you out. You probably still live under their roof. So there's no adulthood really for you there. But you're supposed to learn how to be a woman from that. Like, girls are taught to be women from a young age.
And I'm sorry, I had to stop it earlier because this is a problem that I actually believe is a problem amongst specifically the Black community. It's putting our kids out too early, actually. I believe that at 18 you don't know anything, especially if you've relied on the school system to teach you things. You really don't know anything. All right, so I would argue that actually African American families in particular tend to let their young men and women go out too early. I think that we should, like a lot of the white families, coddle. I mean, and I'm not saying that every white family, okay? I'm just saying on average, from what I've seen from my experience, it seems that other communities allow their children to stay in the household for longer, and that allows them to have an opportunity to gain assets, to save money, to go out and prepare themselves for the world. All right, so I would argue that we should actually be keeping our children in the house for longer and teaching them certain skills that will allow them to, and allowing them to save certain capital that will allow them to go into the world and be more successful. Because a lot of times I see Black folks getting put out at 18. You get the college or job dilemma. You end up getting a job and you end up it's obviously going to be a low wage job. You're young, so you end up you work this low wage job to have an apartment that you can't live in because you got to work at your job all day, and then the cycle continues. You know what I mean? It's just the cycle of poverty. So I believe that as a community, and specifically in the African American community, we should actually allow our children to stay in the house for longer, and that's probably what I'll do with my kids. But that's just a personal kind of philosophy. Let's continue the video.
Then say 18 to 22 to maybe like 24, 25, you go to college. So you get a degree. So awesome. You leave with a bachelor's, you leave with a master's, you leave with a PhD. But did you leave with an MRS? They expect you to be engaged by the time you're leaving school. Like on your college graduation day, you can't just graduate from college. Now your boyfriend proposed to you. So that's also the day you got engaged, which trumps you having a master's. So that happens. Now you get married. So you belong to your parents and you belong to school. Now you belong to this man. So now you got to cook for this man and clean for this man and keep the house and whatever. Now here goes people pushing, oh, when are you guys going to have kids? Okay, so men can't carry kids, women carry kids. So now you got to carry a child. Now you're a vessel for life. Carrying the child, you give, for 10 months, you give birth. Now you're a mother. Okay, now how long do you have to be a mother? At least 18 years before the kid is considered a legal adult, if the same way you believe in that type of things, that your child is an adult at 18. But that's being a mother is a lifelong thing. So at what point did a woman ever get a chance to be herself? Never. But if you hear women say things like, oh, like I don't want to have kids or I don't want to be married, people look at them like you're crazy. Like, how dare you go against society's standards for you and what's set for a woman to be?
Well, here's the thing that people just completely ignore about like nature and life. Okay, there is a reason why we are here as human beings, okay? And regardless of if that was societal pressure, I would argue that pressure does not come from society. That pressure comes from nature, okay? Women and men too. There's a common misconception that this doesn't apply to men, but we all have a biological time clock in which we have to reproduce, or you run the risk of not being able to reproduce. In this particular time, we have to understand that we are a result of generations of success, hundreds of thousands sometimes of generations of success, depending on what you believe, whatever. Okay, but regardless, we are here due to everybody in our past, our parents on both sides, all the way down to the very beginning of humanity, have been successful at finding a mate and reproducing and protecting that child for long enough for it to also find a mate and reproduce, okay? And so that's the reason why we're here. All right, so that is the reason why you have a pressure as a woman to find a man, get married, and get pregnant. It's because it's the circle of life. It is what allows us to continue. If we're not having children, there's no point of doing anything that we're doing as humans. I don't want to go on a huge rant, but let's continue the video.
Especially women will do it too. Like, oh, you'll change your mind. Oh, you're still not married. Oh, you'll find somebody. Like, it's okay. You don't have to be sad. Why would I be sad? And at 35, you're looked at like, oh, no baby. You could have millions of dollars, but no baby, no man. Like, oh, you're losing. Oh, your biological clock is ticking. Like, what? Your success means nothing if it isn't attached to you having a wedding ring or you having stretch marks from you bearing a child and bringing life into this world. But never is it a big deal that women don't get to have their own life or be themselves. Like, you know, you just kind of think about it. And there's so many women who have like fallen into this trap of, oh my God, I'm almost 30. I have to have a baby. Like, what am I going to do? So they just have a baby with anybody, not somebody that they're with, not somebody that they love. Like, it's just a matter of, at least I'm a mom. Like, if I don't have both, at least I have one of the two. And there's a lot of women who, when women say that, they don't agree with them, or they, you know, push them like, how dare you go against what a woman's supposed to be, or you're less than a woman, you're less than me. And in a fight, like with women who fight for women's rights, there will be women on the same side as men fighting against women having rights to just be women, like to just be themselves, just to be free. Like, it makes no sense to me. How dare you go against something that you can completely understand? Because when it comes down to something else that doesn't involve women's rights, and it's the man say so, you're gonna just get pushed to the side. You know what I'm saying? Like, you come second, you come third, you come last. And then a lot of women who have kids, they say stuff like, you know, they have a baby and that becomes their identity. That's all they are, is I'm a mom and nothing else. And you hear them say things like, I was lost before you, or my life meant nothing until I had you, or certain things that kind of just belittle who they are as a person and as a woman. And it's like, that's what you want your kid to look up to? Oh, I have a mom. Like, not my mom does this and my mom does that. You don't give them anything to be proud of. You just give them my identity is mom. That's it. Like, you know, they have a life and they do stuff and they have a baby, and now all their life revolves around is the kid and all the pictures of the kid. And it's like, you can't expect people to just attach to that because that's what you wanted for your life. And that's kind of what I posted. I said I unfollow girls. My thing is slipping. I unfollow girls who post pregnancy announcements because that just doesn't go with the aesthetic of my timeline. I like to look at businesses. I like to look at women traveling, or, you know, men too, but I like to look at women traveling. I like to look at women that buy homes, or they get married and they buy a house together and they spend some time together. Like, there's no time for you to just kind of enjoy everything that life is, because from 0 to 18, you were a kid. From 18 to 24, you went to school. From 24 to 30, you were married. And from 30 on, you was a mom. You die at 70. You were never...
So in the 24 to 30, is that not the time? And that's where I'm gonna call the video. Okay, I kind of got the gist of it now. I understand what it is. She's explained herself enough for me to get what's going on, but that's a complete contradiction to her argument. She says she wants to have a time frame where she buys a house with the person she loves and enjoys her time, and I understand that, because yeah, you don't want to be tied down all the time. You do want to have a little time to enjoy life, but that's the 24 to 30 time when you say you're married before you become a mother. That's that time frame where you get to do whatever you want and go out and adventure and go on trips if you have the money and you can afford it. All right, and she's against choices. Everything that she said outside of the being 0 to 18, when you know, of course you got to be under your parents' roof and their rules are going to apply. All right, and that's usually for your safety, because you just don't know what you think you know. You get 15, you think you know something about life. Your parents tell you you don't know nothing about life yet. You beg to differ, and you go out there and you try things and you fail, and then they go, yeah, you didn't really know anything about life now, did you? All right, so it is rightfully so. You're under your parents' roof until 18, okay? But anything after that is a choice. You can do whatever you want. And that's the beauty about life, and that's the beauty about being, especially in America. Okay, and I'm not saying that it ain't that way anywhere else, okay? So I don't want people, oh, America ain't this. Okay, whatever. Okay, we get it, all right? I'm just saying that because I'm American, all right? But here you can have choice. Women have choices. That's the whole point. Like, I'm not understanding the outrage here. You have choices. If you want to be a businesswoman, from what she says, that seems to be what she wants. She wants to be a businesswoman. She wants to pursue a career. Okay, no one has a problem with that. The only thing that we're going to have a problem with is when you turn 35. And what people don't know is there's a switch in things you care about when you're a woman. You can be career oriented, and you may not want to have kids or care about kids until you hit about the age of 28 to 35. Somewhere in there, something switches, and you see a lot of women drop out of like a lot of women who are lawyers right before partner, they drop out of nowhere, and people go, "What happened?" And it's because they want to make their family a priority at that point in time, and their family can't be a priority if they're competing against men, because men who are super successful work outrageous hours to become super successful. And when you work those outrageous hours, you do it knowing that you're going to sacrifice that time with your family. Okay, a lot of women, they opt out because they realize they don't want to make that sacrifice. They do it a little late, but they also make that realization. Okay, the importance of knowing your choices, and because it seems like she is the woman that is pushed now. That's the woman that's bashing housewives, women who want to be taken care of, women who want to be feminine, women who want to be agreeable, women who want to be vulnerable. Okay, she seems to be bashing those women and saying that that's not the way they should live, but that's literally going backwards. That's taking away women's rights, which is what you say you want. Okay, you have the option to make whatever choice you want. All right, just when you get there, don't blame us if it don't work out. So this age from 24, after you get your graduate's degree and you got your big degree, you think you're gonna go out and get a job, which it probably ain't gonna happen. 42% of people with a degree don't even get a job in their field, by the way. So you're at this age where you go out, you got your degree, you think, whoop-de-doop-de-doo, I'm going to just now go get a job in my career, all right, in field, as a woman, and I'm going to do good and be super successful. You can do that. We don't care. Just don't complain about the patriarchy and how there just ain't enough strong men around when no one wants to deal with you because you're 35 and you've built up all this masculine energy from being in a very competitive environment, okay? And no man is going to want a woman that doesn't have the time to spend and nurture and be, you know, to have kids. No, like, men don't want a woman that's out and don't have the time to nurture the kids. Okay, that's just standard. That's what the traditional man wants. A traditional man wants to be the one. He wants to be the go-getter. He says, "Let me go hunt, and you chill out at home, and I'll bring you back what we get." All right, so if you don't want to be that woman, you want to be the one that goes out with the men and hunts and try to compete against men, you can do it. It's very tough, it's very competitive, and a lot of women ain't liking it. A lot of women ain't enjoying it as much as they thought they would. Because, yeah, they do get to 35 and they have $1 million check, but they don't have kids. Okay, and people underestimate the power of having family and unity. Okay, in old age, when you get to old age, the importance of having companionship, okay, the importance of having something you feel like you're living for, your grandkids, your kids, your grandkids, these are important things, okay? And if you don't have those things because you may have waited too late, that's going to be a consequence of your choices. All right, so we're not saying you can't make that choice. If you want to do that, do just that. Just don't complain if it don't work in your favor, because you were warned. Till next time.